So my name's Matthew Kaner. I'm here today at Aja Vineyards in the Malibu Coast AVA, and I'm tasting with Bianca Vierra, amazing model and hot tub connoisseur, also an incredible home cook and chef.
Today, I'm gonna be tasting with Matthew Kaner. He's become a good friend, but most importantly, I think he's one of the best somms that we have in Los Angeles. And he also owns some of the coolest spots in Los Angeles. So Bar Covell is like a go-to wine bar. It's probably the coolest wine bar in LA, actually. And then he has, you know, a bunch of other spots in LA as well.
So Bianca's not in the wine profession, but she's a wine enthusiast, someone who I actually drink wine with on a pretty regular basis. She lives in the Los Angeles area, comes to my wine bars, and is an avid wine collector as well. So for Bianca to taste today blind, I picked an amazing Semillon, which comes to us from the Alexander Valley in Sonoma County. It's a 2018 vintage. I also picked a local Cabernet Sauvignon. The Byron Blatty Cabernet Sauvignon is from Los Angeles County, 2018 vintage. One of the reasons I picked that wine, the Cabernet, is because half of the fruit comes from a quarter mile up the road here on Lobo Canyon Road.
Hi, Matthew.
Hey, Bianca, good to see you.
So good to see you.
So much better than being on Instagram Live. We're actually here together. Hello. So we're here in this beautiful place. We're here in the Malibu Coast AVA, and I wanted to put two great wines to not necessarily stump you, but stuff to just, you know, put in front and see how we can see your breakdown, your deduction, and, you know, see where you get.
Perfect.
I know you're a big wine lover, so
Hopefully you went easy on me.
Well, one's white and one's red. That I will tell you that.
Thanks.
So that's the clue you get. Yeah, so we can jump right into the first wine.
Perfect.
Cheers.
Cheers. I know, so visually, right?
Okay.
So it's kind of a golden yellow, like not too light. On the nose, I'm getting, getting a little honey, some stone fruit as well. Am I heading in the right direction?
Honestly, what I've always trained anyone who comes to my wine bars, anyone who I get to talk about wine with, if you smell or taste it, it's there. So yes.
I like that.
You always trust yourself.
Okay, I'm gonna go in. Yum. I'm getting, I feel like it could be like I'm getting a hint of stainless steel Chardonnay.
Okay.
A little bit.
So what about it brings you to that? What are you tasting?
It's
What are
like
you feeling?
I'm getting
that brings you to
slight buttery notes, but not like overly buttery, like not, you know, anything that's like heavily oaked.
that? Okay. So those buttery qualities come from a change in fermentation, a change in acid. So we call it malolactic fermentation change, where malic acid changes into lactic acid. So it's like the compounds you find in citrus fruits become the compounds, the proteins you find actually in cream, milk, dairy.
Okay.
So you're finding some of that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am. But I'm also getting some green, and I'm getting a little apple on the nose now.
I know you mentioned honey, you mentioned some stone fruit, some apple, but then you kind of went straight to stainless steel.
Yeah, and another thing that's coming to mind is Viognier. That sort of direction.
Because of the body? Because of the
Because of that, I'm getting that
aromatics?
slight honeysuckle, but I know not all Viogniers have that characteristic.
Right. I didn't make it easy on the first one, I'll be honest. Not a bad thing.
I'm also, white wine's not like in my wheelhouse as much
Right.
as reds are. Like we've been drinking a lot of orange recently.
Sure.
So, you know, I know it's summertime and we've been doing a lot of like chilled reds and
Yeah,
orange
of course.
wines.
No,
as
it's a
you
little
know.
warm out. It's
Exactly.
about 84 degrees here today. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day for a white wine. So, given your breakdown so far, you've got honey on the nose, you've got citrus, stone fruit, talking about a little bit of that kind of buttery quality. You've thrown out a couple things. It could be like a stainless steel Chardonnay, a Viognier.
Yeah.
So where, given what, you know, kind of echoing the things that you found, where do you think maybe you can go on this one?
I mean, I guess I honestly would probably land on a Viognier.
On a Viognier?
Yeah.
You know, it's a good guess.
Okay.
It's a very good guess. I think we'll go to the second wine,
Okay,
and then we'll get
before you
back to
tell
what it
me?
is.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's more fun
perfect.
that way, right? Do the reveal at the
I
end.
like that.
Right? All right, cheers to the second one.
Cheers.
This is red wine,
Okay.
certifiably.
I agree. We are drinking red wine.
Correct.
Mmm.
Yeah.
Delicious. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting bell pepper right off the nose. And green bell pepper.
Nice.
Getting I gotta say cab on this one.
I like you just went right for it.
I know. Well, I when I was first drinking red wine, like I knew I liked cabs, and that's what I ordered the most. I was like, this is my go-to.
Yeah. You have good muscle memory on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're just gonna stop there because you'll see why in a moment. But let me show you what the wines are.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hopefully I did well. I'm excited to see her.
So, wine one was a tough one.
Okay.
Right? But
yeah, I'm not as confident on the first one.
But your breakdown was great.
Okay.
So this is a grape called Semillon. Semillon is one of the 3 white varieties they grow in Bordeaux for Bordeaux-style blends or to make sweet wines in a lot of cases. In Australia, it's very popular in the Hunter Valley.
Okay.
They grow some here in California. This is from Alexander Valley at the Stone Vineyard. So it's funny you said stone fruit.
Yeah.
There's definitely a similarity, a continuity there. And it's made by Carpenter, which is a label connected to the Hawks Vineyard. Amazing Alexander Valley winery.
Amazing.
So not an easy one to get. Viognier is a super good guess. So.
I don't even know if I've had Semillon. So.
No, you'll never be able to say that again.
Exactly.
Yeah, now you have. The second one, I mean, come on. What does that label say?
Cabernet.
You nailed that one. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
This is made by my good friend Mark Blatty of Byron Blatty Wines. The reason I chose this wine is because most of the Cabernet fruit comes from a quarter mile up the road on the same road we're standing on right now.
Wow.
How cool
I love
is that?
That's amazing. And I didn't, this one wasn't too, I knew it wasn't like a Napa Cabernet because it wasn't like as big-bodied and oaked as something you might find in Napa, but I was like, I know if I was getting bell pepper, I was going to cab.
Yeah, so you're getting a little cooler climate here in the mountains here. You know, we're very close to the ocean.
Yeah.
In this AVA, you know, we're close to no matter where you are in the Malibu Coast AVA, you're not far from the ocean, at least 8 miles, and that's the most, really. So you get that kind of underripe quality Cabernet can give, which is the more gardeny quality. But you nailed it. You said cab. I didn't even try to walk you back because you got it.
Thank you.
Well done.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, impressive.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for not going too hard on me.
Well, hopefully you went hard on me. Let's find out.
We'll see.
All right, let's find out.
So I picked a couple of my favorite wines for him to taste. And first of all, I picked a Viognier, which for me, you know, I'm not much of a white wine drinker, but when I discovered Viognier, I think it's kind of known as like the other white. Like it's often forgotten. And for me, it kind of hit notes that most white wines don't. Like it can have a very floral, you know, honey flavor to it. And so this bottle in particular is from Andrew Murray, and it's a really young Viognier. So this is it's got a lot of green on it. And I think it might stump him because it is so young. It's super crisp. I think it's gonna be great for a hot day like today. But I think this could perhaps trick him a bit. The red I brought today is one of my go-to special occasion wines. This is, you know, if there's a birthday or someone achieved something special, like this is a good go-to, you know, wine that we pick out for dinner. And I love cooking. One of my favorite things to cook is Italian food. I love pasta. So I picked an Italian, a Tignanello. You know, it's an iconic wine. And, you know, we actually have bottles of Tignanello displayed at home because we like to save some of our favorite bottles and we make candles out of them. So this is a bottle I see every day in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee in the living room. And I think since it is such a famous wine, Matthew will be able to pick it out, but maybe he'll, you know, since it is a special occasion wine, he might be like scared to pick, you know, guess it.
I'm so excited to see what you put in these glasses for me. Let's see what I can do.
I'm excited for you to
All
taste
right.
them.
Let's see. Cheers.
Cheers.
Game on. So visually, I see a little bit of a golden color to it, but not intense on the color. See a really liberal pour. Thank you. Appreciate that. Very helpful when you're breaking down a wine to have a proper amount of wine. So I get kind of like an apple-y quality, but also like a plum quality to it, which is really interesting. Almost raisiny on the, like a golden raisin on the nose. I get a little bit of a salinity, which I'm a big fan of. A little bit of a herbe de Provence, a little bit of garrigue, a little bit of rosemary. I know also close to us are some rosemary bushes, so that could be part of that potentially. I'm a product of my environment. What can I say?
Exactly.
I smell all.
I'm actually, I had this wine last night because I wanted to taste it before bringing it to you today, and it's more aromatic today than it was last night.
It's not super opulent, but it's also it's relatively expressive, and I get like again that golden raisin kind of apple-y thing, which I really like. I'm a fan of that. Let's see how we got acid-wise. Usually that's a tell for me. So it's a fresh palate. I'm guessing it's stainless steel or concrete. I get little to no influence of oak whatsoever. I don't see any sort of oxidative quality to it on the visuals, so I'm guessing either a reductive winemaking style or just no oak. They wanted something fresh, they want something easy drinking. What's interesting about this style of wine, like where we kind of are, it could truly be anything with early farming and with no oak and just with whatever that winemaker had access to. So it makes it a little tougher to say exactly what it is, but then I'm gonna have to really split hairs here. So let me see what I think, dive a little deeper. So like that pear thing, actually I'm getting pear now. I was getting apple and golden raisin. Now I'm getting some pear. It's just really fresh, easy drinking, balanced acid. I'm gonna call New World. This wine drinks to me like California, where you would go. I mean, it's a place that gets sun, it's a place that gets maturity, but also I'm guessing it's this new mentality of winemaking where farm early, preserve acidity, you don't want too much ripeness, mostly hands off in the vineyard. I'm not getting any sort of like inoculated yeast smell. I'm not getting banana. I'm not getting the stuff that makes me think it's like a commercial wine. So I'm thinking it's much more of like a cool winemaker, someone who would wear a hat kind of like I'm wearing potentially.
I really like your hat today, by the way.
Oh, thank you. A good friend of mine in Woodland Hills made it. Shanti Nohos, what's up?
I'm gonna have to get myself one of those hats.
To narrow down exactly grape varieties a little tricky, just because it could be so many things. And I've had so many wines that have this kind of, I don't know, I guess style is really the word. It's like you're not trying to have a style because the winemaking is the style. It's not the grape. It's like the mentality is the style. So I'm just gonna take a stab at it. I'm gonna go back on the acid and see what I can cross off.
I was hoping this might be a tricky one.
Oh yeah, it's not easy, no. So I'm gonna cross off the list of like, this is not gonna be, I don't think it's grown like on the ocean, but I also don't think it's grown in the mountains or super high elevation. So I'm gonna say somewhere like, I'm gonna guess this is Sonoma County, and I don't think it's single variety either. I'm guessing that there's probably multiple variety because it's not showing any one quality more than others. And that often for me is something when people are taking the love of one grape and the what one can bring to the table, like the spice cabinet, and putting them together to make a wine rather than to make a Sauvignon Blanc or to make a Chardonnay or whatever. Usually when one grape shows its characteristics, it like kind of calls to me. But in this one, because there's harmony, I'm actually thinking it's not single variety.
I like that analogy about the spice cabinet.
Yeah, I use that when it's like a winemaker's, really what ultimately they have is either they use oak or not, and then they have blending varieties to bring kind of together the salt, the pepper, the cayenne, the fill in the blank, whatever people like to cook with. I like turmeric, I like cumin. So I'm gonna guess kind of an off-the-wall thing. I don't think it's like a Rhone style. I don't think it's Bordeaux style. I think it's probably a cross of different styles. So I'm guessing something like like a Viognier Sauvignon Blanc or Viognier Chardonnay or something that's not traditional, but farmed early, meant to be not overly ripe, and the style of the wine is what's most important. But I am going to guess Sonoma.
Okay.
Let's dive into the second one. We'll see how
Perfect.
right or wrong I was later. All right, so the red wine. This is red wine. I can tell. There's a bit of an intensity of color here, so that helps me cross some stuff off the list just by looking at it. Oak influence, beautiful perfume, cedar box, cigar, leather. That also helps me cross a few things off. This wine is very expressive. This wine is like a sexy French woman who wants you to know she probably didn't take a shower today, but she sprayed a little bit of, you know, the eau de parfum.
Yeah.
Something sexy under the arm, so that way you didn't know she just had a cigarette. Oh, I'm into it. That's awesome.
You're into the story. You're on it with storytelling right now.
That's what I do. I'm a storyteller. So sense memory, this brings me to Bordeaux style with the cigar box, with the oak use, with the expressive nature of the aromatics. My guess is this is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, maybe even some Petit Verdot or Malbec, something that's high tone, lots of fruit, but not super heavy. Like this is probably grown at elevation, because otherwise it would be more black in color, and this one's got actually a little bit more intensity of color on it. But even from the nose, I feel relatively confident that I'm in the right realm there. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Yeah, so specifically what I said was Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, maybe some Petit Verdot or Malbec, but Bordeaux varieties, and high elevation. I'm gonna guess this wine is from the New World and from a place that emulates the right bank, so maybe Merlot dominant.
Shall we reveal?
I think so.
Ready?
Let's see how right or wrong I am.
Pull them out. Okay. So I know you're a fan of the Rhone, and I wanted to, one of my favorite wines is Côte Rôtie.
Nice.
And the way I discovered Côte Rôtie was actually because I became a huge fan of Viognier.
Oh.
And I was actually at the Andrew Murray tasting room, and they were what introduced me to, he was blending Syrah and Viognier, and I'd loved Viognier prior to that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I thought I might as well go back to, I think we've talked about our mutual love for Côte Rôtie.
Absolutely.
So I thought I'd go back to the origin of where I fell in love with Côte Rôtie, brought it back to Andrew Murray.
Love Rhone varieties, and Andrew himself is a good dude.
I thought you might, I know this is in your backyard
Yeah.
of Santa Barbara.
He used to make wine at Area 51, a great wine facility, and now he's got his own cool tasting room, and he moved facilities to be on his own. Guy makes killer wine in Santa Barbara County. I mean, my backyard, so.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I figured you guys might know each other.
I guess Viognier Chardonnay, you know.
Yeah, close.
That's fine with me. I was wrong about single variety, but that's okay. It's good to be wrong. You learn from that.
Exactly. And now with my red choice,
Yep.
I remember recently you told me that when drinking wine with friends, that's a special occasion, and then I thought I might as well bring out a special occasion wine. And we love Italy.
Wow.
So.
Holy shit. Damn, you just dropped a Tiganello on me?
Yeah.
How much Merlot is in that?
So no Merlot.
Fuck.
This is all Sangio with 15% Cab Sauv and 5% Cab Franc.
My problem is I've only had old versions of this.
And I figured learning about this wine when I picked it out for today, I knew this is a younger vintage for it. And apparently it's a great year, but I figured it might vary from an older bottle of Tig.
So what's amazing about that is these guys, their whole thing was they got upset with how in Bordeaux they could do, in essence, whatever they wanted. In the New World, they could do whatever they wanted. I mean, it's liberal to say that, but
Yeah.
compared to here where they're like, grow Sangiovese and grow nothing else. So, you know, they traveled the world, they went to Napa, they went to Bordeaux, and they're like, why the fuck can't we grow Cabernet? Why can't we grow Syrah? Why can't we grow Cabernet Franc? So they're the rebels. They were one of the two who started this whole thing, the Super Tuscan.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons I love this wine. You know, I'm from Silicon Valley. Like, I grew up around people that are pushing the envelope in various ways, and the wine world is like so old and classic, and I love the history behind it. Like, that's one of the reasons I love wine, is it's kind of history in a bottle and you can consume it, which is amazing. But, you know, to go somewhere where in Italy and breaking the rules and have been for a long time. I think that's really cool.
Cheers to breaking the rules.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for sharing this.
Thank you.
I will
for
not
having
be
me.
spitting this wine, I promise you.